Okay, so I'm going to do a video on the interconversion of prefixed and base SI units. All right, so when I do a problem like this, I'm of course going to solve it through dimensional analysis or unit analysis, and I'm going to use my favorite system here, which I've only been using for a couple years, and it's called the picket fence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the units of my, I'm going to start out with the units of my answer actually, right? This will help me focus on where I'm going. So I'm going to put down here meters is what I want. Then I'm going to put an equal sign, that's step 2. And step 3 is I'm going to put out a picket fence, right? And I don't know how many pickets I want in it, but I'm going to do that. Step 4 is I'm going to put out the units that I'm given, right? That's what I'm given. DM, which is probably decimeters, but it's not something I use often enough to have memorized. All right, I'm going to have to look that up, and the way I'm going to look that up is it's in tables here. And by the way, this is a screenshot, so I'm going to flip over to my browser here in a second, and it's going to be maybe a little confusing because I'm going to be flipping back and forth here, but I'll warn you when I'm doing it. Yeah, and that's it. So again, first step is first thing I'm going to do, besides make notes, which I'm not trying to make, the first step I'm going to do, sorry about that, is I'm going to write out the units of my answer. And the second step, let me put that in red, write out the units of my answer. Second step is I'm going to write out the equal sign, then I'm going to make my picket fence, and then I'm going to put the units that I've given in there, right? What I'm going from and what I'm going to. All right, let me get rid of all that red there, and let's go ahead and solve it. Now I got to look up my conversion between decimeters and meters. I'm going to go over to my browser, and I'm going to click on that button which I said, which is this little graph over here, or a bar chart, whatever that is, and I'm going to look for SI prefixes. Okay, and I see deci right there. It's the second table over, it's the right table, and it's the top row. And I see deci, the symbol is D, and the meaning is 10 to the minus 1. Okay, so let's go back over to here. I'm going to go, okay, well, decimeter's got to be down here because it's got to cross off, right? And meter has to be here, right? And I want meters, and I've got to cross off decimeters, so it's perfect. They cross off perfectly. Okay, but now I'm going to put in my 10 to the minus 1. So deci is down here, and so 10 to the minus 1 is going to have to be up here, right? The number value for that prefix always has to go with the base unit, and so that's what I have. So I think I'm ready. Looks like it's 2.8. Okay, those cross off. So it looks like it's 2.8 times 10 to the minus 1 meters, and that's the answer. 2.8 times 10 to the minus 1. I can either write it in like that, or I can go ahead and put it in my calculator and find out what that means in decimal. I know some of you are good at this. Some of you can do this without, you know which way to go in terms of the decimal point, but I know I'm likely to forget it, and a lot of students are too. 2.8. So I'm going to put it in my calculator. Now the times 10 to the button is this EE button right here, and I'm pointing at it with my finger, which you can't see, of course. So I'm going to click it and watch what button clicks. It's the EE button. Click. All right, EE. Let me do that again. Let me go back. How do you do that? How do you undo that? Okay, I'm going to do the EE button again and watch what happens. EE times 10 to the minus 1 equals 0.28. Now, another button I'm going to show you in this ALEKS calculus is a science and decimal button. Watch this. You see the button I'm pressing, science and decimal, right? Do you want the scientific notation or do you want the decimal? Doesn't really matter. Sometimes one is a lot easier to type than the other. 0.28. In this case, I think that's the easier one to do. Check, and that should be right. Okay, hope that's helpful. We'll do more videos like this in a minute. Good luck.